got us a big old piece of 4-inch stainless. Anytime you do exhaust work, this is what you want to get. If you don't have access to a mandrel bender, this is what they call a UJ. Here's your U and here's your J. So you got a 45, cut this in half, and you got 2 90s. And then if you got a little piece of straight piece if you need some. All right, fam, let me show you where we stand so far. I got the downpipe mocked up. It's going straight down. I'm probably gonna make a few pie cuts to kind of off-center it from the frame rail, sneak it down there real nice. I've already verified that the 4-inch bellow that looks like this, but of course 4 inches, will be able to snake through this area right here. So now we're gonna work on the screamer pipe. We're gonna see how much we can get done with it on the car, and then we'll take everything off and coat the back side of the pipe. I'm thinking a straight section, a little bit of a 45, kind of let the flow gradually go into the downpipe. We'll see if I can master that. So a trip into my head or my thought process. I want this bellow to be lined up with like the valve cover lines, you know what I'm saying? Like the angle of the motor. I don't want it to go like this. You know, I don't want to do anything other than kind of be symmetrical or whatever. So I think what I need to do is I need to make the little spool piece to go in between there, get that tacked up. That way, when I take this whole assembly off, I can work on a fixed position from this point to here. Right now, I'm trying to juggle 1, 2, you know, possibly 3 pieces. If I fix these 2 or these 3 items together here, then all I gotta do is work on one thing. All right, fam, I took this whole assembly off just the way it's gonna fit inside of the car. I made sure all of my V-band clamps and all of my bolts were super tight so that nothing would move. And the reason I brought everything over as one assembly is because we got to make this piece here. It's not just a generic go into a T, it's got to go into a bend. So I think I got a few ideas of how I can make this happen, but regardless, it ain't gonna be easy. Not gonna be easy. About a good 45 minutes in, back and forth between this carbide bit and the belt sander. I think I got my fit up just as good as I'm gonna get it. I think I might go in here and clean this up just a tad more. But I think between the thick filler wire, I think we can make something work. So let me go ahead and polish this all up, tack it into place. And then once we get this all tacked, we're gonna have to remove this piece and cut out the hole in the middle before we actually fully weld it. Matter of fact, let me trace that now. All right, I'm to the point where I'm ready to cut this section out. This outside line is the actual outside diameter of the pipe that I'm coping to it. This inside circle, I just kind of brought it in maybe a ½ an inch, is actually too small, but I wanted to cut this section out too small and then use the carbide bit which is right here, to open this section up. I also went a step further and I took a piece of random 3-inch aluminum intercooler piping, cut it in half, cut maybe like a 1-inch, 2-inch piece off of it. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stuff this inside of here so that when the plasma cutter starts blasting all that nasty crap, it don't kind of eat up and make the inside of the pipe look all gross. So I'm gonna fix this up and then we're gonna cut that out. All right, I got about 5 tacks all the way around this thing. Now I'm gonna have to take everything off in order to purge it. I would prefer to leave everything together and weld as much as I can possible. But if I purge this thing, actually I'll have to purge it from this side because the turbo will be on the bottom, downpipe will be up. It's gonna be difficult. I can't purge through this wastegate. I could probably purge through here, which will eventually purge this housing that'll come this way. But that's way too much argon. So I'm gonna take it apart, probably, I'll figure it out. All right, after welding it, I bolted everything back up. It's still hot, but I wanted it to cool down, bolt it up together so that it cools down, there'll be less distortion. We are using the hooker headers. The way the hooker headers are designed for the LS Turbo platforms, it comes with a passenger and a driver side manifold. Over here on the driver side, this pipe comes down or comes off, as you can tell, it's a V-band, and then this is what joins the two together. So before we install this, there's 2 things I want to address. First and foremost, look at that piping in there, dude. That pipe is ugly. I mean, I don't think it's gonna fail, but it's definitely like rusty looking. And if y'all sending stuff out like that, man, matter of fact, let me get a light real quick. Hey, hooker, you should be ashamed of yourself. Look at that. Look at that piping. That junk look like the insides of a hooker, if you ask me. And then look at this V-band flange. You see that little pimple right there? I mean, you ain't gonna get no good sealing surface with a pimple on that mud, so we're gonna have to knock that off. The little tap of the belt sander, and that pimple has disappeared. This junk is better than daggone clear cell or that stuff you get at Ultra for your face. Actually, I'm gonna do one extra step before we actually put this crossover pipe, and that's actually cut a little bit of this ear off to make room for the downpipe. Okay, see the dilemma? This flange is off-centered. Like, this section needs to go more towards the motor. Maybe I can take this pipe, cut a little bit of material to kind of bring it up and over. But this is aggravating so far. I figured I can show y'all what we're looking like here. I got 2 pie cuts attached to a small straight. It's kind of kicking it that direction. And then we got this humongous 4-inch bellow that's gonna kind of sit in this general area right here. But I'm gonna make 2 more 4-inch pie cuts to kind of kick it back this direction. And we'll see if we got it mocked up with all this together. Speed Addicts. This is a new day, and off camera, I finished welding the last 2 welds, which are right here. This is actually on the downpipe, so I'm gonna let that cool off. We're waiting on a 4-inch V-band, male to female, that I can weld onto the other end of this bellow so that we can finish up the downpipe going to the exhaust. All right, so back to these hooker headers, specifically this trash crossover. I try my best to make this thing work. It ain't gonna work, it ain't lining up. When I bolt it up, there's too big of a gap on the inside, the side that is closer to the block. And since this is a pressure side, meaning that this is the side that is gonna spool the turbo up, you can't have no leaks, okay? So, believe it or not, this kit came with extra flanges. It's almost like they knew it wasn't gonna work out. It actually came with 2 flanges. So I think we're gonna end up having to use one of these. And so far what I'm doing is I cut the weld all the way around, and then I'm trying to slide, to be honest with you, I might better just cock this, bolt that mud back up, and then just fill in the gap with MIG weld. This is not TIG welded, it is MIG welded. But basically I cut it all the way around, but not all the way through. I did make a mistake and cut it all the way through right there. But I cut it using the 4.5-inch disc grinder, and you can already see that space. And all I'm gonna do is tap this off, and then we probably will grind down the rest of this weld, and then we'll probably weld that on. But we're gonna put everything together first, tack it up, and then fully weld it off the car. Readjusted that one. To be honest with you, I think that we probably need to put a little bit of red RTV in between the mating surfaces on this flange and that flange. I'm not a fan of female to female flanges. This mess is trash, man. Hooker, you suck. All right, guys, I've been messing with this thing for too daggone long. Hooker, you suck. There needs to be a flex inside of this thing so that both sides are sealed up perfectly flat. So I'm gonna take a measurement of this crossover pipe and let Jeff know that we are gonna need a flex. But on the good side, we got an O2 sensor on that side. It's not touching anything that's on the top half, so it shouldn't collect too much condensation, equaling fouling out the O2 sensor. So we're good in that department. As we returned, totally forgot that I had a 2.25, aka 2 1/4 bellow. Put that thing in there, and now we're in business. Both sides sealed up perfectly fine. And again, we got minimal clearance right there on that frame, but it ain't touching. Off camera, I made this little brace to kind of hold the downpipe in place. And it's gonna bolt up at the top of this little boss right here. As you can tell, it threads in through the bottom to hold the transmission pan in place. This particular setup is threaded all the way through the top. So that's what we end up using. That's the final product, all secure into place. That's the back view. And as you can tell, this cross member got 2 loops. He had dual exhaust before. Now that we're doing single turbo, the exhaust is gonna come through this section, come back here, Y off, and then we are gonna use the dual exhaust. But we're gonna talk about the exhaust, and we're gonna fab up the exhaust on the next episode. We have gotten a lot accomplished, but we still got quite a bit to go. So we'll catch you on the next episode. Be sure to subscribe if you like this content.